Well, welcome back to the Jodi Faith Show. It is my awesome privilege today to introduce you to Heather Eby. She's one of the city councilors right here in Moose Jaw. And as I've been getting to know Heather just a little bit, I've discovered that this is a way bigger story than a woman who decided when she was a little girl to, run for city council. Hey?
Yeah, it's a bit bigger than that, for sure.
Yeah. And so you've been now, this is your second term?
Yeah, the beginning of our second term. We were just re-elected in October, so it's the beginning of second term.
Okay.
So I'm into my fourth year.
Into your fourth year. Yeah. Now, honestly and sincerely, Heather, did you ever think that you would be on city council in this role that you're now in?
No. No, I never did. And I didn't have this dream as a little girl to do this. Probably never had this self-confidence to ever dream about doing it, let alone believing I could. So no,
there you go.
Never did.
So one of the things that kind of knitted our hearts together right off the bat was that you have a quote that you use all the time. And I have a quote that I know I need to put on t-shirts for the Jodi Faith kind of concert series that we do. And it's so alike, it just touched my heart. I thought, okay, this is a woman after my own heart. What do you say about, being called into this whole business?
Well, what I have written in the front page of my very first city council notebook is that God does not call the equipped, but that he equips the called. And I have that there because I need to remember that all the time, because I never felt like I was equipped to do this, but I know that he does the equipping.
There you go. And the quote that I've always used is that God doesn't call the qualified, but he qualifies the called.
Yeah, I love that too.
And so as far as equipping and qualifications and those kinds of things, you have been on a learning curve right from day one, haven't you?
I certainly have, but been very fortunate to have great mentors. First session, or the first term that I was elected, Glenn Hagel was the mayor, and he was a wonderful mentor. And right from the first night of the election results coming in, he took me aside, and I did not know him before at all. And he said, Heather, I know you're really green, but I'm going to be here to mentor you, and nice. I'm going to just help you all along the way, and you're going to do a good job. So he's been there even since he's not the mayor. He's still there for me all the time. And now with Mayor Higgins, she is great as well as a mentor. And also in the previous term, Councillor Terry Coleman really became a mentor of mine, and I still count him close as a friend and as a mentor.
It's a really big message that my husband Bob and I have as we tour and we do, what we feel we're called to is really building mentoring relationships, younger to older, experienced to inexperienced. Right. So you've really benefited from that, haven't you?
Really benefited from that, and I would not have had the success that I feel that I've had on city council without those mentoring relationships. So,
well, I was thinking about the fact that you actually were willing to let your name stand for a second term. It says a lot about the fact that your mentors have helped you to really take the role on and feel that you really are accomplishing something.
Right. They really made me feel like I could do this and that I am doing it. Not that I could do it, that I am doing it.
There you go.
And that what I'm doing is valuable. So, without that, there's not a chance I would have done it again.
Right. Something else that you said just in our kind of pre-interview chats was really profound to me, that this is not at all about politics. Tell the folks what you feel about that, because I think that's the heart of who you are as a councilwoman.
The background to that I didn't get to share with you when we first talked was the first night that we were elected, had a few words with someone, won't name any names, and he said to me, well, Heather, this is politics. And I had this fear in my heart, like, oh no, politics, I didn't know this was politics, which sounds so silly. But so I went home and I was really thinking about that, and as I shared with you then the next morning in my journal, I just had that sense that God didn't call me to politics, he called me to people. So for me, city council is not about politics, it is always about the people. And the people of Moose Jaw, the people that I work with on city council, the people at City Hall, it's not about one group of those people, it's about all of them. So that's what it is for me.
That's awesome, because let's face it, in a world where so many people feel as though they've been forgotten or people aren't hearing from them, to really say this is about individuals. And you had some great stories about some of the crazy, maybe don't seem so important to some people or wouldn't even think about it as what a councilwoman actually does. But you've had some of those incidences. Street cleaning, springtime. I was impacted by that because nothing more horrifying than the fact that you've just discovered that you left your vehicle parked on a street that's going to be street clean. You get a phone call. Tell us a little bit about that incident.
Actually, I got a text. Technology is awesome, but I got a text early this week from a client of mine, but also, a citizen of Moose Jaw, and he said, Heather, I'm in Calgary, just found out that my street's being cleaned in Moose Jaw on Wednesday morning, my car's on the street in Moose Jaw, and my keys are with me in Calgary. What am I going to do? Am I going to get towed? How much is this going to cost me? So I loved that I could make that phone call, find out for him that he wasn't going to get towed, but he was going to get a $25 ticket. Okay. And I let him know that, and he was resting easy and just, able to enjoy the rest of his time in Calgary and know what he was going to face when he came home. So that's a really small thing in the scope of City Council, but those are the things I really like to be able to do for people and, do it as quickly as I can and as friendly as I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, I'm interested to tell the viewers, what does a life in the day of Heather, Councilwoman EB, look like? What does being on council mean to your schedule? What are some of those kinds of things?
Well, I do have a full-time job. I'm a registered massage therapist, so it makes me really flexible, no pun intended, with my schedule because I'm self-employed.
Sure.
So day in the life of city councilor Heather begins with the day in the life of Heather, massage therapist. So, start my day, doing some appointments.
Okay.
Actually, I always start my day with a walk.
Okay. And wellness is important.
Wellness. And then, start my work day. And if we have any events that are scheduled during the day, I, feel like Clark Kent and quickly change my clothes and, go to the safety patrol luncheon or, just all kinds of things that happen in Moose Jaw. We also often bring greetings on behalf of the city if the mayor is not available. Mm-hmm. So we do those things. So those things kind of intertwine every day, and that's not just Monday to Friday. There are lots of times on Saturdays. There's lots of those events that need to be attended to, and I really enjoy those events, the quilt shows and the parades and all those things. I love doing that. And then usually evenings during the week I have always 2 meetings a week, like 2 evenings a week of meetings, sometimes 3 or 4, just depending on the week. But so City Council is always on Monday nights.
Okay.
And then our subcommittees, of which I belong to 7, are scheduled throughout the month on other nights. So it's a pretty busy schedule, but it's all good. I enjoy all the committees I'm on and look forward to meeting. Again, it's because it's the people on those committees that make it interesting, right?
Sure. So I don't know, tell our viewers, do you have some favorite committees that let's talk about from 4 years ago to being stretched. What kind of committees are you on that you can hardly, I can imagine looking at myself in the mirror and kind of going, I can't believe I'm actually on this committee, never mind.
Sometimes I'm sitting there thinking, how did this happen? But I don't know if I have any, I wouldn't want to say favorites because then the people on the other ones would say, oh, well, we're not your favorites. But I really do like being on the multiplex board of directors, which has been really exciting because there's been lots of stuff to get that going. That's great.
Sure.
But I'm also on the murals management board, which is great. And I've had I've loved the murals ever since I moved to Moose Jaw, and the ghost murals is one thing that we started restoring since I've been on the murals committee. It was one of those things that they had thought about before but never really done anything with. So that not that I got that going, but I just kind of said, can we think about this? So that's something we've started doing. So the murals is great. I'm on the Waccamaw Valley Authority Board, which is awesome. I love the valley, and that's a pretty major commitment there. And I'm on Economic Development Commission.
Yeah, you hear how really diverse are the interests of the things that you're having to be part of.
And I believe there's 28 committees, subcommittees of council, all of which have at least one councillor on them. Okay. So there's many different things for many different interests. So.
Okay, very cool. So from sitting around the city council chambers, being in city hall, all those kinds of things, what would you say to somebody who thinks that they too might want to have more of an input in the community in such a way? Like, what would you say to those folks even today?
There are as I said, I believe 28 subcommittees of council.
Okay.
So that's a great place to start.
Okay.
If they want, this is the time of year that they can get on those committees,
Okay.
although there's usually vacancies on one or more throughout the year anyway. So if they're interested, they can go to City Hall to the Clerk's Department and see
Okay.
what's available. There's the Environment Committee and Housing Committee and all those sorts of
Wow.
things. So lots of opportunities there. And I mean, City Council meetings are open to the public
Right.
unless there's in-camera sessions. But there is always opportunity for people to come and watch council and
Right.
see if it is what they think it is.
There you go. As you've learned so much, there's
I've
so
learned
much
so
to
much,
it.
yeah.
Well, we're going to come right back after the break, and we're going to hear the personal story of this lovely lady and how she has moved into her destiny purposes by being part of the Moose Jaw City Council. Be right back.